Once again, what a game of football. And this is what you call a tactical masterclass from Eddie Howe in terms of this Newcastle versus Tottenham Hotspur game, because I thought Eddie Howe coached a perfect game. This is the type of game that Eddie Howe showed that he was a superior manager on this particular day, right? Because the way he had Newcastle set up against Tottenham Hotspur was how he was able to completely destroy them and nullify any attack that they had and just take advantage of the opportunities that they created. But before we even start, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to MKB, welcome back to Man Knows Ball, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that bell for any post notifications, everything like that, right? But what a game that Newcastle played right here. 4 to Newcastle, 0 to Spurs. Now, and when you look at this game, man, this game was unbelievable because of the fact of just, like I said, it was a tactical masterclass from Eddie Howe. The way Eddie Howe had his Newcastle team set up against Spurs, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. Now, before we even care, obviously Newcastle, right? Especially for what they did last season. We look at Newcastle, they played unbelievable football last season, making it to top 4, obviously getting Champions League football. We had big expectations of them coming into this season, right? Because of their accomplishments and the way in which everything was going for them, right? Because we saw that it was only going up, you know. But obviously, we've seen how the season has kind of unfolded for them. Obviously, in the Champions, they didn't do so well. In the league this season in particular, also, they haven't been really playing the best football just like last season. And some results don't really go their way, but some of their results really go their way. And I think this is just this is an example of one of those days where the results really went their way in terms of how they just completely nullified Tottenham of anything. Because when you look at the two teams, right, Spurs obviously played the way that they always kind of play, just this end-to-end kind of football they're trying to play, this possession base, trying to create opportunities, this risky type passing and everything like that. Like they try to play the way they usually play, but it just didn't work against Newcastle because of how Newcastle kind of just, they sat back, they absorbed the pressure, they soaked in the pressure, and then they hit the Tottenham on the break, right? That's kind of how they played. And when they played that very well. They played it very well because they were just able to completely nullify Tottenham's attack. They weren't able to really get those passes through certain, like the defense just did so well for Newcastle, right? Like that's why they weren't able to score a goal because of how defensively solid Newcastle played in this particular game. And then when you look at when they went on the break, when they went on the counter attack, they were devastating, and they made sure that every single chance they had counted for something. Like the amount of times they were on the break and something happened, like obviously that's how almost I think 3 of the 4 goals kind of went in because of them being on the break. And I gotta give credit to not only Eddie Howe, because obviously Eddie Howe did make that being the setup. He made that to be the setup, the way they were going to set up against Spurs. But you also need to give credit to the players who are able to execute that tactic. And I need to give credit to the likes of Anthony Gordon, and I need to give the credits to the likes of Alexander Isak. Those 2 players were unbelievable, especially on the break. On the break, they were so devastating. Like every single time, you know, the way that they were just completely dominating that Tottenham defense, they should have scored more. Like 4 is not a good representation of the amounts of chances that they were able to create on the break. Like generally speaking, I think they could have scored more goals. That's how good they were. Alexander Isak was those 2 goals that he took were honestly unbelievable. Brilliant play. To be honest, his whole game, he was playing unbelievably in this match, right? Because I think that was a very good number 9 performance. The way he was able to hold up the ball, the way he was able to move into the channels, even the finishes for his goals, I thought they were very brilliant, composed, really just placement over power and everything like that. I thought he played very well. He was always an outlet for his team, you know. Whenever he needed someone to run on the ball, he was always eager to run. His energy was there, you know. I thought he played very well. Same with Anthony Gordon. I thought he did the same thing. Again, another person always running to the channels. If you need an outlet, he was there. He was always ready for the counter attacks, always charging forward. Those 2 players, I thought they played very well. I thought they were brilliant. And to be honest, Newcastle as a whole, I thought most of them played well. I thought Bruno Guimaraes didn't. It was kind of iffy in this game, but it's kind of been like that for a couple of games now. But it is what it is. But Newcastle, I need to give them props because of the way they set up and the way they played. They really outclassed Spurs, and then that now goes on to Spurs itself because Spurs in this game was very underwhelming. They were very disappointing, and I don't even know. I can't even pinpoint exactly what it is. You could argue maybe it's quality that's kind of missing in them, but I need to single out a couple of players because when the season started, Spurs were playing unbelievable football. They were playing brilliant football and they were beating some teams that realistically, when you look at it, maybe they shouldn't have been beating, but they were able to do it and they were playing unbelievable football. But as the season went on, obviously injuries happened, people going to international duties, certain things kind of happened. Players were playing at a very high level at the beginning of the season, but then they've dropped off. So there's a lot of people that I want to point out here. Like, for example, Heung-min Son in this game. I thought Heung-min Son, yes, they didn't find him much, so he didn't really have much to go on. But I think Heung-min Son should have done better. He didn't play as well as he usually does. He should have done better. James Maddison, we were raving about at the beginning of the season, especially before his injury. People were like, Man United should have signed him. Man City should have signed him. Everything. We were raving about him, but in recent weeks, he hasn't really been playing that well. In this game, again, he didn't really play very well. Mickey van der Ven, oh my God. Mickey van der Ven, for those 2 goals, man was on his ass. Fell on the floor. And again, just performance-wise, wasn't good from him. He should have done better, but then, hey man, what are you going to do? Man? And then you look at the likes of Destiny Udogie, you look at the likes of Pedro Porro, those 2 players who I thought, realistically, and I still even think, like Destiny Udogie, I think is the best left back in the league this season. But realistically, those 2 players didn't play very well. Vicario even, he was like another one who I thought was a very good goalkeeper this season. In this game, didn't really do well. There were chances I think maybe he could have stopped, maybe he could have saved. There are certain passes that he made that I just thought didn't make sense. Like there's certain passes that actually, instead of alleviating the pressure for the team, he kind of like made more pressure, like because of the misplaced passes that he had. So I thought Spurs just really didn't play well in this game, and then you need to worry about them. Start thinking, are they going to be able to attain that, that top 4? Because at the moment, it's looking like they're going to battle top 4. It's looking like they might. So I'm very curious to see how it's gonna go because it's not looking good for them. It's really not good, and their run, even like the fact that they even lost this, their run is not gonna get any easier because they still need to play Manchester City, they still need to play Arsenal, they still need to play Liverpool, and those games are gonna be tough. Those games are gonna be hard, and for them to lose this game against Newcastle the way that they did, it's not looking good, man. It's genuinely not looking good. But I need to give props to Newcastle. Newcastle played an extremely good game. They played extremely well, and they were just a better team. Tactically, they set up much better than them, and they played very well. Whereas Spurs just didn't show up. A lot of the players didn't show up. So it's worrying for them. It's worrying scenes for them. We're just gonna have to see how everything's gonna unfold. You're going to see how everything's gonna go for them, but. Yeah, man, it's not looking good. But hey, I'm very curious on what you guys think is going to happen. I'm curious to see if you guys think that Tottenham is going to eventually make it into the top 4. Because I don't know. I don't know if they are. So if you guys think that Tottenham are going to make that top 4, comment down below if you think they are. If they're not, tell me the reasons why you think they're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, so hit that bell for any post notifications, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, man, we out.